to the Cellcast presents Untangling Kingdom Hearts, a commentary and analysis podcast, show, episode, presentation, whatever you want to call this, of the Kingdom Hearts franchise one small step at a time. Today we are on Kingdom Hearts Union Cross Chapter 2, which is Dwarf Woodlands. In this episode, we will be looking at the cutscenes in Enchanting Encounter, Doc, and Happy. So, let's get started then, shall we? Dwarf Woodlands, of course, is going to be based on the film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the very first of the Walt Disney animated features. So it does kind of make sense that we're starting here. So let's just go ahead and jump into this first cutscene. The scene begins with the evil queen from Snow White talking to the magic mirror. And this is your traditional scene where she's saying mirror, mirror, or magic mirror on the wall, since it's Disney. Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? The magic mirror is a little reluctant to say who it is, but she commands him to do so. And he gives her the description in a bit of a riddle that pretty much tells her who it is, because she knows immediately that it's Snow White. The scene then transitions to a well in which Snow White in peasant garb and rags walks up to a well and begins to sing. The prince walks up and begins to sing with her, which kind of spooks her, and she runs off. Now, by sing, I don't mean we're vocally hearing singing. I mean, we know they're singing because multicolored musical notes are coming out of their mouths. As Snow White gets spooked, she runs into the house while the prince walks up to it and begins to sing again, and she comes back out holding her hands together as the evil queen watches from the window and walks away. And that's the end of that scene. This is definitely setting up the main conflict of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm curious how much into this it's going to get. I know that Birth by Sleep, which touches on the Snow White story again, closer to the end of the movie. So I'm curious how far this will go in telling the story. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Doc. We begin with a title card for the Dwarf Woodlands, followed by our character running into the scene, attacking some Shadow Heartless. Shadow Heartless are basically these kind of small, black, rabbit-like Heartless. I used to call them evil black bunnies when I played the original Kingdom Hearts back in the day, because that's kind of what they look like. After defeating them, Doc will walk up and says and talk about how he saw you defeat those creatures. He didn't know what they were. They've been causing trouble. They attacked him and the other six dwarves in the mine, and they tried to chase him out of there, but now he's lost where the other six dwarves went, and asks us to help find his friends, and we agreed to do so. One nice thing about this part is how they handle Doc. I mean, I kind of skipped over a lot of it there because it gets a little pedantic as much as he talks, because it's Doc. But he does stumble over his words. They kind of had him stumble a little too much. Like nearly every line, they had him stumble over some word that they found another word that kind of worked with it. Like when he says they're nothing but troubles, he starts off saying, no, they were nothing but bubbles. I mean troubles. I saw you defeat one of those creatures. The better one is, he talks about how he and the other dwarves smirk in the twine. I mean work in the mine. It's a little ridiculous have him trip over those lines, but at least it is interesting. But yeah, that's where this one ends. Now we are in a mine, and we happen to be on the screen, and there's another dwarf in front of us, which looks like, I'm guessing, to be Happy. Admittedly, I don't know. I can't tell you the names of the dwarves just by looking at them. Doc and Happy do look a lot alike. Outside of Grumpy and Dopey, the two far more recognizable dwarves, I'm not really good at making them out on a regular basis, but we can tell that Doc is a little off screen as the word bubble is facing towards the bottom, and he says, there you are, Happy. So this is indeed Happy. As Doc walks on screen, the two converse, asking about what happened. Apparently one of the mine carts is broken down. There's no way getting back across. Doc asks Happy where the rest of the men are. Happy says, I thought they were with you. So yeah, we don't know where the other 5 dwarves are now. That'll have to be fixed up, but they seem to be okay to some degree with all this because they're just happy, everything's safe and everything's good. And they say, well, thanks for helping us out. We've got it from here. Bye, basically. And I'm kind of left at a little bit of a loss because this is the end of the scene and we're still here. Not to be a little too down in the dumps or too much of a spoil sport or party pooper, I guess. But this has so far been rather odd because I feel like we've been missing like a lot of stuff in between scenes. It feels like they may have cut out more than just gameplay when they were doing this. They may have cut out like maybe some other type of cutscene that maybe was not as visually impressive, though some of these have not been visually impressive. It just feels like we're missing a lot of connective tissue. So I may have to go back and watch a Let's Play of this to find out what on earth is going on. But yeah. Since I still have a couple minutes here, I will point out that since I last recorded, I have gone back to look at Playframe's story mode of this game that he at least started when the game was still actually playable. And yes, there is some context missing from some of these cutscenes, but not a whole lot. Going forward, I am going to check his... I probably will be mostly watching off of his playthrough, but then double checking to see what's actually missing here. But basically what happens is there is a prologue that we missed that I have not been able to find, just quickly going through the cutscenes available on there, that kind of is a setup for the basic concept of what's going on here. It's done kind of in a storybook-like fashion with a grandmother telling her young daughter, which if you've played Kingdom Hearts before, you will recognize the daughter, but telling her the story of essentially how this all started, pretty much. And it is told sort of like a fairy tale. There is a spot between the first 2 cutscenes there in Daybreak Town where you do find out what it is you're actually supposed to be collecting. You are collecting these things called Lux, but you're not told why you're collecting Lux yet. And also, we do find out that the Grey Cat's name actually is Chithery. I think I said it wrong earlier. It's Chirithy. Sorry, it is Chirithy. It's a harder name to pronounce. But the Grey Cat's name is Chirithy. And Chirithy does come along with you into Dwarf Woodlands. The other thing I noted that was during the Dwarf Woodlands part, you and Doc headed towards the dwarf cottage first, so he could pick up something, and then went into the mines. And it is Chirithy that tells you, I think we're all done here for now. Let's go ahead and go to another world, and you actually open a portal to go to the next world. I honestly have no idea why some of this stuff was cut out, other than some presentation issues. A lot of these cutscenes are set up where you have both of the characters who are talking are kind of large on the screen, and then there's a text box underneath where the actual speech is, instead of it actually showing a lot of acting like you see in a lot of JRPGs. I don't know why they cut that out in a lot of cases. And the scene where you open the portal at when leaving Dwarf Woodlands, that is done as a normal cutscene, but because it's just literally you opening the portal, I guess they decided that was not worth keeping in there for as short as it was. So yeah, I am going to be double checking. What I probably will be doing going forward here is I'm going to watch Playframes, which is his name is Dan. I'm going to be watching his to kind of get an idea of the whole story, and then go back and see what those cutscenes are in the context of what you can go with now. So just so I can kind of tell you we can go through the whole story for the most part. And yeah, going forward, I will be posting Playframe's episodes for this too. In fact, since I've been recording this and I have not posted an episode yet, I will be going back and putting the Playframe, the link to Playframe in those episodes too. Playframe was kind of where I was going to use as a semi-crutch, so I didn't have to replay the games again. Not that I don't like playing the games, but just to keep a good timetable, I was going to use Playframe as a way to, keep up with everything after this. But it looks like I'm going to have to be depending on Playframe just a little bit more. But yeah, sorry for the confusion there. Anyway, thanks. And next time we will be going into Wonderland, but maybe with me not being so confused as to what's going on. Oh, one last thing. The giant dark side that they fought was technically a raid boss. I am going to be dependent now, at least somewhat, on what he saw for a lot of those extra stuff, and there is a chance he did not finish it before the game went offline. So it may become a moot point after some point. I don't know. But just be aware, if you are going through those cutscenes for the first time, you are actually missing now a bit of context to at least explain some minor things. Anyway, we'll be doing Wonderland next time. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you then. The Cellcast is a member of the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information about shows in those networks, please check the links in the description. The Cellcast presents Untangling Kingdom Hearts as a production of the Cellcast podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at cast_cell, on Facebook at the Cellcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, and you can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com or visit us on our webpage at thecellcast.podbean.com. Our theme music is Trinity by Tyler Spirian and is a remix of the song Dearly Beloved by Yoko Shimomura from the franchise Kingdom Hearts. The Cellcast podcast has no affiliation with Square Enix, Disney, or for that matter anyone else connected to the Kingdom Hearts franchise. The Cellcast Presents Untangling Kingdom Hearts is a fan production and no copyright infringement is intended or implied. Kingdom Hearts is owned by both Disney and Square Enix. This podcast also is not intended to be a replacement for playing the games. Please go and play them yourself.